Welcome to Coikanasant Living Landscape Conference, our Living Landscape Community Leading Change. Today we are celebrating the success of our 5-year scheme, which has been supported by the National Lottery Heritage Fund. The Coikanasant Living Landscape Partnership Scheme, or CALLP, began in 2016 and comes to a close next month. Before we start, Vicky Campen, the CALLP Training Events and Volunteer Coordinator, will introduce you to the features of the platform.
Thank you, Boyd. Welcome, everyone. I will just spend a few minutes explaining the conference layouts so that you can find everything easily. From our homepage, you can use the direct links to every section of the virtual platform. Click the Home to get back here at any time. The agenda is located below the home page link. Here you can see what is to come today and at what time during the day. Please note the scheduled breaks between sessions are highlighted in purple. Each partner and funder has an exhibition space on the platform. Please click the links to explore each organisation further. There is also the options to message them questions and visit their website. You, yourself as an attendee, also have a profile. Here is an opportunity to network with others at the conference. You can edit how people can message you through the platform. You can opt in and out of instant messages through the day by clicking on the tick boxes. If you're having difficulties or want to know how to ask our speakers a question during the presentations, head over to our info pages. Here you can find further information and frequently asked questions. Lastly, I will say that the conference will be available on this platform for 30 days after today, so you can view anything you missed or want to see again. After this, they will then be located on the Coikanasant Living Landscape website.
Thank you, Vicky. Coikanasant Living Landscape is situated in the northwest of Scotland, and with a land area of over 625 square kilometres, it makes up almost 1% of the land area of Scotland. However, within the CALLP area, there's a population of only 1,244. What makes the scheme unique is that approximately a third of the area is community owned. Just under a third is also owned by membership organisations and trusts, and the remainder is under private ownership. Land ownership among the 14 CALLP partners covers 52% of the area. However, other parties have a major influence in the area's land management. For example, Crofters Common Grazings cover over a quarter of the land area. Approximately a third of the area is designated as protected land, which is monitored by Nature Scot. All of the area is covered by the West Sutherland Deer Management Group. The CALLP scheme covers 6 land management projects, from surveying ancient woodlands to planting new native woodlands and surveying square kilometres of habitat. 7 skills, training and people projects, from axe throwing to CALLP archaeology. 10 path and access projects, from the Postman's Path to Sylvan Path. 10 built and cultural heritage projects, from an Iron Age broch to modern Gaelic songs. As we start the celebration of CALLP, it is my pleasure to introduce a short video that allows the partners and the community to talk about the impact of the project.
These mountains were formed eons ago by the forces of nature, but the landscape and history of this place have been shaped by its people, and people are the key to its future. This is our home, our past and our future. To make sure we protect it, our communities have worked together with Coach Living Landscape Partnership, and in doing so we've achieved far more than we ever thought possible for our heritage, our wildlife and the next generations.
We had sheep on the croft for a while, but we want to diversify and do something rather than livestock with it, yes. We got soil samples done. We've had loads of advice from CALLP themselves. We have barley planted now through them. They source the barley, and getting the polycrub put up as well. So we're trying to lessen our carbon footprint. So thinking instead of getting our blueberries from Peru, we might be able to grow some in Untitled.
We own 4 acres of land here, but we also rent approximately 12 hectares. The land itself is not very productive. It's quite poor soil. It's probably been overgrazed in the past by deer and sheep. And we just thought it would be quite a good idea to try and do something a bit more constructive with the land. We had this idea to put 2 areas of forestry on it, just indigenous trees. And already we've seen habitat improvement even in the small area we've got. There are more birds here, hopefully moths and bees. Certainly some of the sort of involvement that we've got with our woodland project is an extension of a wildlife corridor that already exists. Things are slowly improving, and to be able to extend that further down to the west of our area will be hopefully really useful.
Over 300 hectares will have been planted between a few trees in somebody's garden through to some large woodland planting areas. I think the wider impact is showing what working together can do. Having all interested parties coming together on the areas that they have in common, trying to work together towards a similar aim where possible, particularly with woodland expansion. I think it's been invaluable.
With both places, I felt people were maybe missing out on a really lovely walk, because sometimes it's quite difficult to actually access the coast here. There's some really boggy patches, and some of it was a bit unclear about where you go, and there was a bit of a scrabble up the rocks. But we wanted to keep a very natural look, so the contractors have been really sensitive to that, and it's difficult to tell what's new and what isn't.
Our involvement in the landscape partnership schemes brought us a number of benefits. In some ways the most obvious one is for funding, but actually I think as important, if not more importantly, is sort of the joint working with neighbours and the joint projects that we've been able to get involved with. I think overall it's led to better understandings and better working relationships across the area.
We're involved in the deer management project, where the John Muir Trust have come to work with us on this along with CALLP. The John Muir Trust are providing a deer larder. We are keeping the old deer larder, and that's going to be changed into an interpretation and information point for the public, which will be open for people to come and learn about the land management on this estate, why we do what we do, because there are too many deer. It's reducing the numbers in a sustainable way that produces food for the local area.
So with the Landscape Partnership, we were able to get the funds to help us produce a new website, and within that website we have a sort of data capturing process where people can put in what they've seen, and that's everything from butterflies to amphibians and reptiles, birds of course, and then laterally we've been mapping it as well, so at a glance you can suddenly see what a great place it is for wildlife and where it is and maybe where it's not and things like that. So it's been a fascinating project. It's involved a lot of people. At the end of the day, people are the biggest resource, and if we can keep them inspired and active, that's the main thing.
One of the primary ideas of the Music and Tales project was collecting the music and stories from the older generation, really, and also they would be among them of sort of the last Gaelic speaking people, native Gaelic speakers, so we really very much wanted to speak to them. And sort of technology racing away as it does, I think we want our younger people to know about these things, to know about their heritage.
The project is Clachtolbroch. The pressure of stones in the middle of this structure was actually pushing the walls out, and that had been going on for the best part of 2,000 years, but it was getting to a critical stage. It took major excavation work, but we ended up with one of the best preserved Iron Age sites, I think, anywhere. We made sure the kids got up here from all of the local schools. If you can inspire primary school kids to be looking at their history and seeing what the past of the area was all about, then that is wonderfully good for the future of archaeological and historical studies.
The involvement with CALL has let us develop a programme where the children are used to regular outdoor learning. They've provided funding for 2 of our teachers to go on the Woodlands Activity Leader training, so that even though Fiona and Kat will be moving on to other things, the outdoor learning will continue through the school, and it will continue to thrive and get bigger in this area because of what CALL set off and started with. So it's a bit like the seed, and we'll be the tree that grows and spreads the outdoor learning sort of vision across this cluster and hopefully further afield as well.
Coigach and Assynt were, in a way, very sort of separate communities, and the whole CALLP project has brought the 2 communities together.
Looking more holistically across the landscape scale beyond ownership boundaries is the way forward into the future, and I think increasingly important as we collectively try to tackle climate emergency, biodiversity crisis as well.
We're all in this together, and I hope that the essence and the spirit of it continues and people continue to work together.
There's a lot of projects happen that wouldn't normally have happened, and I'm hoping that the impetus and the energy that created these projects will keep going into the future.